Now we'll apply optical character recognition software to Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate. Once we're done, we'll apply the same 3-point test to Barack Obama's birth certificate. This time, we should see drastically different results. First, we'll look under the Properties tab to see if fonts were recognized. As you can see, they were. Next, we'll see if we can search for a word in the body of the text. We'll choose the word live since we know that it's there. And as you can see, the word was quickly found. Now we'll see if we can edit the word that we found. As you can see, once a document has had OCR software applied to it, you can edit text with ease. Many have also incorrectly suggested that optimization is the panacea for all that ails the long-form birth certificate. But optimization produces layers very different from the layers found in the long-form birth certificate released by Obama. The document released by the White House had only 9 layers. Our control document had 45 layers after being optimized. All attempts to replicate the layering effect through optimization on the long-form birth certificate or a document of similar complexity have resulted in considerably more than 9 layers. In instances where a low number of layers has been produced, the documents being optimized have typically been rather simple in nature, as when author John Woodman used a page from Little Red Riding Hood. In addition to the number of layers being different between the long-form birth certificate released by the White House and our control document, there is another very important difference regarding the layers. As we turn on all 45 layers of our control document, you'll note that there seems to be no rhyme or reason to the organization. Contrast this, if you will, with the long-form birth certificate released by the White House, where layers 4, 5, 6, and 7 all deal exclusively with stamp information. Are we to naively believe that this is the result of a randomized computer optimization process? The fact that the registrar stamp and the April 25th date stamp appeared separately and independently of each other on separate links drew our attention to the fact that they resided on separate independent layers. The fact that the date and registrar stamp were linked and layered in this fashion brings us to the conclusion that they were brought in from unknown sources and placed in the long-form birth certificate document released by Barack Obama to give the appearance of legal certification. Also troubling about the April 25th stamp and the registrar's stamp is the fact that both stamps can be lifted cleanly off the document and moved about the birth certificate in one solid piece. It should be noted that none of the self-proclaimed computer experts claiming to be able to replicate the layers in Obama's long-form birth certificate has been able to replicate this effect with the April 25th date stamp and the registrar's stamp. This document is far too problematic to discuss all of its issues in one press conference. Please note that the issue we are most concerned with is that of the date stamp and the registrar's stamp, which appear to have been imported from unknown outside sources. For if the date stamp and the registrar's stamp, which are placed on the document to give it authenticity, are fraudulent, then the entire document is fraudulent.
The last part of that video is probably the most important. The fact that the registrar stamp and the date stamp giving authenticity to the document is a safety factor. It's to tell the public that this thing is true, it's authentic, and it's official. The fact that that date stamp and register stamp has been imported from an unknown source, linked and layered in onto the document, and can be moved around in its entirety, leaving a white halo, tells us that whoever created this document imported that register stamp and that date stamp, laid it on a white background, and then filled in the green safety paper around it. That is not the way, under any law that I am aware of, you authenticate a document. The document has failed every test we put it through, and I want to also be clear so you understand, this was just not a bunch of ex-cops and lawyers running these tests. We went outside to experts, graphic experts, forensic document examiners, and ran these tests. This is serious. This is very serious. When we realized that that register stamp and that date stamp were imported the way they were, we notified Sheriff Arpaio immediately and advised him that we believed we had a forgery. Going forward, other information surfaced regarding allegations of Mr. Obama being born abroad and not in Hawaii. Without having this document to rely on, we were now forced to look into some other issues. There was speculation that he was been born in Kenya. That's been out there forever. We tried to determine, is there a way for us to find out if that's true? We all know that every document surrounding Mr. Obama's birth is basically sealed or doesn't exist, or we're told something about it. We took an unusual step. We knew back in 1960-61, any flight coming in from overseas to Hawaii would have been, I believe, Pan Am or TWA. And we tried to see if there was an opportunity for us to get passenger manifests. There wasn't, obviously. They don't exist any longer. We reached out to the National Archives and asked them the same question. The National Archives responded and informed us that they didn't have manifests, but what they actually did have was microfilm copies of INS records depicting of every individual coming into the country from overseas. We asked them to copy those records from microfilm onto viewable microfilm rolls for us. They did. I believe we asked for a 10-year span of time, 685 rolls or something to that effect. We asked Mr. Corsi, because he's local in that area, to go down and view those for us. Mr. Corsi went in looking for the month of August 1961. That is the birth date of the president. Not the exact birth date, that is his birth month. Mr. Corsi was examining those records. When he got to August 1st through the day of August 7th, those records disappeared from the microfilm. And they picked up on August 9th and then August 8th and then continued on. We petitioned the archives and asked them why this occurred, if they had any reason, an explanation. To date, they do not. What does that translate to us? We don't know if Stanley Ann Dunham or Mr. Obama as an infant was on an airplane coming into the country. We don't know if he was, we don't know if he isn't, and we cannot make that determination. As a result, we still have to entertain information now that he was possibly born abroad. Another issue surfaced, and that would be Mr. Obama's Selective Service registration card. There have been months and months of debate over the Selective Service card. We got to take a look at the Selective Service card. And what you'll see on one of those diagrams there, you see a blow-up of the Selective Service card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this short video to show you what we did and how we came to our determination. I'll expound on it a little bit, and then we'll move forward.